Hey guys, and welcome back to Bad Luck Garage. Today I wanted to kind of try to do something a little bit different than what I normally do. What I want to do is take a product review. You already know what it is from the title of the video, but it was a product that we installed and reviewed a year ago. Actually, I think it was a year ago today, maybe a year ago tomorrow. But anyway, what I wanted to do is I wanted to take that product and give you a 1-year update on it because it seems like there was a lot of interest in it. So there were also a lot of questions on it. So the product that I'm talking about, of course, is the eBay fuel pressure regulator. I installed the eBay fuel pressure regulator a year ago tomorrow. I'm not doing this video tomorrow because tomorrow's Father's Day. But I installed it a year ago tomorrow, and guys, it's still working great. Initially, we installed it on our truck. It had a 6-liter LS swap and a nitrous kit. And the reason I installed it was because the factory Corvette style fuel pressure regulator could not keep up with the Walbro 450 fuel pump that we put on there. So I needed an adjustable fuel pressure regulator. I didn't have a lot of money, and I kind of looked at it like this. The last name brand fuel pressure regulator I bought actually looked almost identical to this unit. It was an Aeromotive unit, and that thing lasted about 6 months before it took a crap on me. So I was looking at it like this. The Aeromotive, I think I paid $160 for. This eBay fuel pressure regulator, I paid, I think, $36 for. I'll put the link to the original video at the end of this video. So if you guys want to go back and watch that, it's got all the pricing information. And there's also, I'm going to put a link in the description of this video as to where I bought, what seller I bought the fuel pressure regulator from. But my line of thinking was, even if I have to replace this thing every 2 months, it was still a better deal than the Aeromotive unit that lasted 6 months for $160. Well, here I am a year later with a $35 fuel pressure regulator. The engine that it's supplying fuel to is actually turbocharged now, and it's still going, guys. All right, guys, so you can see the fuel pressure regulator right there. Still on the truck, still hooked up. Actually, we are running with no filter currently. We just have the sock filter on the in-tank pump. So, still working, guys. Still going good. And now back to the video. As you can see, it's still going strong. It's still on the truck. For the second part of this video, what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through on the original video and answer all the questions that you guys had asked about this fuel pressure regulator. A lot of the questions were just generic questions, and I actually answered them on the video, but this is for those of you who either haven't seen the other video or who might have seen it, but you don't have your notifications turned on, so you didn't know that I had actually answered the questions that you asked. So that's what I'm going to do now. First question was, how hard was the spring? I need 43 PSI, but the spring that came in mine is rock hard. It probably starts at around 100 PSI, even with the adjuster all the way out. I don't know how hard the spring is. I didn't have any problem with mine, and mine actually started with the adjuster all the way in. It maxed out the fuel pressure gauge, but after I turned it about halfway out, I was right there in that 56 to 60 PSI range that I needed for my engine. So I didn't have a problem with that. Next question is, what size are the fittings that come with it? Yeah, and I know what this is all about. I actually recommended in the video not to use the fittings that came with the regulator. And the reason I recommended not to use them is it was obvious they were cheap, they were flimsy, they were thin. The regulator worked great for me, guys, and it's still working great. As you can see, if you follow the turbo truck build, that's the same regulator, guys. But I do recommend using better fittings. They're all -6 fittings that came with it. But of course, you can adapt and get -8 or pretty much whatever you want. I've watched dozens of these videos. You are the first to explain how to install it on a Deadhead system. Yeah, guys, and there was a reason for that. My truck was originally a returnless style fuel system, and I didn't want to have to pay for the extra fuel line. You know, that braided stainless fuel line isn't cheap, guys. So I didn't want to have to pay for the braided stainless line to run a whole nother line all the way back to the tank from the regulator. So that's why I chose to run it in a Deadhead setup, just like, you know, it is already. And for those of you who don't know, Deadhead is the returnless style setup. It's just another name for it, but I'm glad that helped you out. Thank you for the review, for the video. What is the device you installed on the intake line just before the fuel pressure regulator? That, my friend, was a Summit Racing inline, I think it was a 30 micron fuel filter, and that thing actually crapped out and started dumping fuel a couple months ago. It was actually in a video, because when I first saw the fuel leak, I thought the fuel pressure regulator had gave up, because, you know, everybody kept telling me that fuel pressure regulator is going to crap out. Well, the fuel pressure regulator didn't crap out, but the Summit Racing inline fuel filter did. So that's what the thing is that you saw me install in line right in front of it. It was a fuel filter. Oh, this is one right here, guys. Do you think this will work well at low PSI around 5 to 10? No, it will not. This particular regulator is intended for fuel injection, so it's intended for a high pressure system. I doubt that you could adjust it down below maybe 40 PSI. It might go a little lower, but it is definitely not going to run a low enough PSI to run a carburetor. Here's one. Bought this same regulator. Diaphragm split after a month or two. I hate it for you, guy. I bought one working like a damn champ. Yep. Mine too. Here's another one. How do you think this will work with the LS1 carbureted motor? It won't. Yeah, I covered that in the low pressure question. It won't, and don't even get me started on carbon and LS engine. You guys, it's like this. It's your build. You do what you want to do, okay? But I'm gonna give you crap if you start talking about throwing a carburetor on an LS engine, unless it's, you know, something where you're running in a class where you can't have fuel injection. You have to have a carburetor. You know, if you're just building a street car and you start talking about putting a carburetor on an LS engine, I'm just like, blows my mind, okay? But again, it's your car. You do what you want to do to it. You didn't say how you put on the gauge. Really, guy? It screws into the hole in the front. I know it's been a while since your install, but do you remember what type and size the internal threads were on the regulator block? I run 8N fuel line, so I need to change the fittings out for the bigger hose. No, I'm not sure about the internal thread size. I thought I'd actually said something about that, but maybe I didn't. But it's like this. If you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna buy this thing, just buy it. You can go to Lowe's, take one of the fittings that came with it. Go to Lowe's, or don't go to Home Depot. I hate Home Depot, but go to Lowe's, or if you're up north, Menards, I think is the main hardware store. And they've got those things on the aisles where you can screw nuts and bolts in, and it'll tell you the size of the threads. So, you know, once you get this thing in the mail, you know, it's pretty easy to find out what size it is. And then you can just get whatever fittings you want to adapt it to dash 8 or dash 10, you know, whatever it is, dash 200, whatever it is you're running. How fast does it drop the pressure? Wow, man. Some of you guys, like, I'm a redneck, and some of you guys spell worse than I do. How fast does it drop the pressure after the pump goes off? That has nothing to do with the regulator, okay? Your fuel pump has a check valve in it. So if your fuel pump either A, doesn't have a check valve, or B, is bad, like the check valve in it's stuck or something, you know, it's got nothing to do with the regulator, guys. There is no check valve in your regulator. I mean, they may make regulators that have a check valve in them or a check ball, but I've never had one that did. Again, that's got nothing to do with the regulator. That's in your pump. Does it matter which side fuel goes into in the regulator? No, it should not, because it's regulated through the center. So technically, you know, the 3 holes, the end, you know, the holes in the sides and the holes in the bottom, all that should be swappable. Okay, so it really shouldn't matter which side you plumb to what. All right, guys, I think that's about got it. Like I said, I was just wanting to do this video because, you know, I had a lot of people that keep asking and sending me emails even, asking, you know, if the fuel pressure regulator is still good or whatever. The answer is currently yes. 1 year later, it is still good, which means it has officially lasted 6 months longer than the Aeromotive regulator that I bought on my last project. So I got to give it, you know, 2 thumbs up. I may do some year-end reviews on some of the other products I've installed, but anyway, if you want to see more product reviews, you can click on my product reviews playlist and see that. If you want to check out the turbo truck that we put this thing on, there is a turbo C10 playlist for that. We also have playlists for the 54 Chevy project and tuning, LS swap tech tips. Guys, I'm trying to cover all the bases here, so hopefully there's a video or a playlist for what you need to know. If there's not, let me know, and if I'm capable, I will make a video about the subject you desire. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you are a subscriber, thank you very much. I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you next time here on Bad Luck Garage.